I gotta admit, this film is weird. You chose to make a Mega Man cinematic universe and you start out with a movie about Gemini Man? I can't say that's something I was expecting, and I'm done with this joke. Storytelling and technology are two things that complement each other well. In the world of filmmaking, they always seem to drive and evolve one another. The potential for new technological advancements to create new stories is always going to be around, but it just can't overshadow the artistic aspect completely. Before seeing Ang Lee's Gemini Man, I read up on the production of the film. The frame rate issue wasn't a factor in my showing. It ran at a normal rate as other films do. Gemini Man has a development history of over 20 years, being passed through different actors, directors, producers, and studios. Its script was even rewritten a few times. I figured that Gemini Man was going to be a film with a real-world story more fascinating than anything in the actual movie, and I was mostly right. Gemini Man isn't that great. The effects of this film look oddly fake, ocean water looks tame, the hills of Belgium look plasticky, and the backgrounds of some scenes seem blurry and video gamey in a bad way. Some airplane shots look especially awful. The de-aging effect used on Will Smith isn't that bad when the younger character is in dimmed or darkened areas, but in some shots it could have used a tune-up. For most of it, I didn't find the effect distracting or bad aside from a few spots, but I'm not a visual effects artist. I didn't mind the action scenes, to be honest. It feels more condensed compared to something like Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious, which I feel it's trying to ape, but you do get some interesting gunplay, some creative motorcycle action, and a Will Smith mirror matchup. Totally missed the opportunity to make a "which one is the real Will Smith" scene. Mary Elizabeth Winstead was holding a gun and pointing it at the two during the fight. Had the film came with a different development history, I would say that Ang Lee's talents could have been more used to highlight the more character-based interactions and development. Gemini Man isn't without some scenes of plot progression and the characters talking and emoting, but I dug the subject matter of the film. Will Smith's performance as both characters is great. There is the possibility of creating a film with a rich, high-concept premise that could be unique and interesting. So what if cloning and super soldiers might seem like old hat at this point? It might not be in film. It might not be in films made in 2019. Had Gemini Man be made with this as a big artistic focus, alongside of using technology to de-age actors in a film, it would have been great. Gemini Man isn't good, but I don't hate it either, which surprised me. If it still interests you at this point, you are more than welcome to see it, but there's no rush. It'll probably make its home on cable networks during weekend afternoons in like a year or so.